All right, well, gonna be heading up to Sandpoint. It's here in Idaho, Northern Idaho, about, I don't know, 45 minutes north of where my studio is. And a friend of mine, Greg, has got a YouTube channel called Our Dream in the Woods. He's got a sawmill and he's going to be helping me cut up a bunch of slabs. So I gotta do some chores and clear some snow and get on our way. Here we go. Hey,
you made it.
I made it. How are you, Greg?
Good.
studio. Huge thanks to Greg and his YouTube channel, Our Dream in the Woods. Greg's got an amazing piece of property up in the Sandpoint area, and he has a sawmill that he's going to be building his shop and his house from. So I'm really excited. Thanks again, Greg, for spending the day with me. It was great fun. As we get back here to the studio, the challenge here is going to be trying to find a place to put all these slabs. We just got about 10 inches of snow over the last couple days, and when that happens, it just makes things extra challenging in trying to find a spot to store them. So anyway, we'll get the truck unloaded. But before I do that, let me just tell you a little bit about my truck. This thing has been such a blessing. It is a 1995 Ford F450 with a Palfinger knuckle boom crane, and I use it for so many things. I mean, it really just makes life easy considering all the heavy things that I need to lift, whether it's installing sculptures or moving wood around. It's just been a great truck. So anyway, as we start trying to find a place for these, I think I'll probably put them underneath the porch. But you know, there's never an optimum place when you've got a huge load like this. They really need to be dried, stacked, and stickered so that they can kind of air dry nice and evenly. But we'll probably have to wait till spring before that happens. So anyway, let's get to it. What I'm doing here is trying to select a slab. What I'm looking for most of the time is just one that fits the project. In this particular case, I'm just trying to carve you guys a sample tree. So I'm just grabbing one real quick that's roughly the right width so I don't waste too much wood. But anyway, like I said, these are a cut maybe 2-3 times a year. I cut them all to around 2 3/4 thick, sometimes 3 inches thick. I think these are closer to 3. And they're all stacked pretty much in my carving lean-to so that I can, let them dry but have access to them year-round. What I'm doing here is just giving it a quick inspection. Right now, these are brand new cut slabs, so there's not going to be anything to really worry about, but I'm just measuring them out. My trees I cut at 21, 28, and 35 inch. I basically do that because I want there to be a good delineation between sizes when I'm trying to charge somebody, so they can see the value difference between one to the other. So anyway, I just cut them at 21, 28, and 35 inch. I do sell them in sets a lot, and I think that configuration looks really nice on the wall. So I've kind of been doing that for, gosh, I don't know, 15 years or so. What I'm about to do here is clamp the slab inside of a jaw horse. And if you don't have a jaw horse, they're a super handy tool. I've got a couple of them, and they work really good for holding just about anything. So the first thing I want to do when I'm doing my trees is just do a rough outline. I do a few squiggly lines just to kind of set my eye right, and then cut off the side portions one at a time, and then I'll kind of clip the top to kind of narrow the top out a little bit, as well as kind of shoot down the sides of each to kind of limit the amount of wood I've got to cut off when I'm actually carving. So sometimes I will leave a little bit of the sapwood on the exterior edges, which can kind of be a neat little color contrast once the finish is on. But for the most part, I'm just kind of working the edges here, trying to define each branch and each one. You can vary the shape of the branch by scooping it out more. You can do just about anything you want. Right here I'm using a Echo 2511P with a 8-inch bar, 1/4-inch chain, and 043 gauge. And it's actually a really good detail saw. I've had it for about, I don't know, 8 months or so, maybe a year, and it's kind of one of my favorites, to be honest. It helps you get a lot of detail and maintain lots of control as well. You can just as easily do this kind of tree or this kind of detail with a, like a Stihl MS 170 or 180 and a 1/4-inch pitch 12-inch bar. That's 050 gauge. It's not a problem. You can use that as well. So anyway, what I'm doing here is just kind of cleaning it up. There was just a little bit of sapwood on the tip there, so I was just shaving that off. So just work yourself from top to bottom, kind of cleaning up any little imperfections, and being careful to kind of get underneath each of the branches there so you can clean that up. It's really a good time to do it before you cut it off of the stump. It's much more difficult to work on the tree once you've removed it from the clamp, and once you shape that bottom part, it doesn't clamp into the jaw horse near as easily. So anyway, I just lay the tree down and I grab like a quick clamp and clamp it to the table, and that kind of just holds it securely while I'm kind of cleaning up underneath the last little bits and bobs of the tree. Underneath each branch, if you're doing it right and you're kind of twisting your saw as you're cutting, you're really removing a lot of those little edges as you go. But this is the time to grab your saw and just do the final shaping of the stump. I always like to carve a little chamfer so that there's not just a straight edge. I'm not a big fan of straight edges, and so I just clean it up with the saw. And then the next step is to drill a hole. So I'll unclamp it and set up my drill with a drill. I usually use a brad point drill, and I like those because they leave a pretty clean hole versus another one, especially in softwood. They tend to tear. So get the drill going nice and fast. That way it cuts through the cedar really well. But I always just drill it in an angle, and that way it'll kind of set down on a screw or a nail really nicely. So this looks like a drilling straight, but you can see I'm tilting the tree over. So, and the final step really is just to give it a light sand. So I will use my die grinder with a resin fiber disc. Usually, I don't know, 100 grit disc is kind of nice. It gives a relatively smooth surface, but you're basically sanding the back flat. This is where it comes in really handy when you use slabs versus just cutting it off of a stump, is because you have a really perfect flat back and you don't have to work too hard to make it fit flush. So anyway, it just hangs on the nail, and that's pretty much it. That's this is the medium size. This is a 28-inch tree, so I do one smaller and one larger. But Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching the channel A Sculpted Life with Jeff May. I'm really excited to be bringing some videos to you guys here in the future. You know, A Sculpted Life for me is obviously, you know, a life as a sculptor, but you don't have to be a sculptor to kind of resonate with the term. You know, A Sculpted Life is really just about pursuing your life's skills and dreams and doing it to the best of your abilities. That's kind of my spin on a sculpted life, of at least living one. So anyway, thanks again for joining me on this episode, and we'll see you on the next one.